Hello, everybody. This is Brian with Trading Tactics, and today I want to take you through a short, quick little trip through the S&P 500. Now, last week we talked about this range in depth, and we're still inside of this range, bumping our heads on top of resistance right now. We've pulled back off of it a little bit. Now we're looking for, is this thing going to hold in that resistance zone and burst out of it to the top side, or is it just going to be viewed as being too expensive, not enough opportunity, and is the market going to fall back down from here? The truth is, we don't know, but we can find out a lot about what it might do, and we can have a plan in place for whenever it does what it's going to do by studying the charts. So, with that said, if you're interested in what's going on in the S&P 500 and what might be going on in the economy as a whole as a result of these 500 huge companies going through the gyrations that they're going through right now in the markets, then please stick around until after the intro. Until then, hit that like, notify, and subscribe. Let's rock out and we'll dive off into it. Okay, so first off, before we get into anything else, I want to just mention that I am not a financial advisor and none of this is meant to be trading or financial advice. I encourage everybody to speak to a financial advisor prior to placing a trade. Make sure that they are licensed, make sure that you understand how they do their business and how they operate. Do your due diligence and research. None of this, what I say, is meant to supplement or replace financial advice from your financial advisor. This is for entertainment and informational purposes only. So with that said, let's get off into looking at the S&P 500. I'm going to be looking at the ESH 3, and we're going to be using the 3-minute chart with the daily profiles, regular trading hours only to do this. The things that I have on the chart, the studies that I have on the chart, indicators, tools, whatever you want to call them, is we're going to be using S&R zone. We are going to be using profiles. And these are going to be daily. And we're going to be using VWAP, volume, and RSI. That's all the things that I have on the chart here. Oh, we have one more. And OHLC. It's going to be the open, high, low, close. So we have these things on the chart. These are the tools that I use. This is what I call my master chart. This is the chart that that I look at to perform my analysis as far as determining bias and getting some really good key levels to trade off of. This is where I turn. My other chart looks quite different. My other chart looks like that. This is my actual trading chart. This is my analysis chart. So big difference. This here is a 9 range. We have 5 men set up pretty much just like the master chart here. We have a heat map. We have all sorts of things on the regular trading chart. So with that said, this is what we're looking at for analysis. Now, let's just kind of go from the top down on where we're at, just kind of get you oriented to what we're looking at. We still have this big gap from the December 14th to the 15th. And this is where the 14th closed regular hours, and that's where the 15th opened regular hours. So we have this just huge, and we have this huge gap, and we know that traders are targeting this. We know that some are going to be looking at that gap, saying that this gap is going to fill. I don't know if it's going to fill or not. I'm not a prophet, okay? I'm not divining what the market is going to do. We're just going to be looking into how we're going to react if it does certain things. So let's start there. If the market were to come from where it's at and work its way up into this area, then the market can only do two things. It can only do one of two things. It can't do two things at the same time. It can only do one of two things. It can either bounce off of it or it can accept it. One of the two. It can reject it or accept it. It can agree with the upward movement, or it can decide that this crap is just too expensive and nobody's going to buy up here. That's the only thing that the market can do. Now, we have no idea what it's going to do if it even gets up here. We don't even know if it's going to get up there, much less what it's going to do when it gets there. So let's go ahead and have a plan in place. First off, let's go look at value. Now, we know that we have no value, no perception of value in this area. We don't see a big blue value zone anywhere around here. We have this, which the market was consolidating. It pushed up out of that, seemed to like these prices. It consolidated for 2 days and then just completely skipped off of it and used that area as an area of resistance. It just completely and totally rejected that area. So we have a couple of lines that we can use going into this that might help us out. First off, we have our value low line here. And that white line that I just added here is based off of this value low. Regular trading hours, daily profile from December the 14th. That has not been touched since then. So that's an untouched level. We also have an untouched point of control up here. A naked POC is what it's called. That's all the way up here at 4077-ish, 4078. That's also going to come into play if we start breaking into these levels. Now, we also have this area here. I'm sorry, the point of control here. So I'm talking about this point of control is one of those naked points of control that hasn't been touched. It was skipped over and then skipped over again. So that hasn't been touched. We're looking at that as being a potential target for this gap. So we have a couple of things that we can look at to take profits if we get long going into this area. Now, as far as a little bit more locally to where we're at currently, drop another one of these guys. We have this guideline, or I'm sorry, this value area here. This value area has been validated as an area of resistance twice now. We have it here. I have it here, so I guess 3 times. And now we have it where it's kind of spitting out of this area again. Okay. It went up in there, it puked out of this area, and now we're back on this guy right here. Okay. We're sitting right here on top of this. And I'll show you that with the guideline. So, we're not stretching out over this monitor. You can see exactly where we're at. This is our high right here. And you can see that it came up, was inside of this high volume node and spit right back out of it. We formed that little bitty lower high on the 3-minute. And now we're currently right here in the market roughly, and we're sitting on top of that value area. So we're going to be looking at that area still, this value area here. Let me get my pen. That's going to be supply. So we have that, we have the gap, and that's going to be our upside things that we look for resistance. Now, the actual price points that I'm going to be using for resistance is just going to be this value high and this prior high of day. That's going to be perfect. I'm going to take this line here. That's going to be a resistance area. Stretch that out across. And then, of course, if we're going up, I'm going to be targeting that gap. If we can't hold either one of these levels and we reject out of it, okay, then I'm going to be looking at value low from Friday, and ultimately the low of the range is going to be my target. So let's go ahead and set up the chart. We have our gap here. We have our supply zone. And what I'm going to do with that is just drop this support and resistance zone here on Edge Pro X, and I'm going to extend it out. So I have that. Let's change the color. We got too much blue on the chart. We'll, let's see. Let's just do that, whatever that is. So we'll go with that. And then down here to the bottom side, we have this guy here. So I'm going to be looking at that as demand. Okay, so if we get down into this area, we're going to expect prices to move up. Now, we're in a range. I know it's absolutely crazy, big time revelation that the market is just simply going like this right now. So what does our trade plan probably need to look like? Not very difficult here. We want to play off of support. We want to play off of resistance. We want to go long on support. We want to go short on resistance. So we know what the market's doing. We also know that nothing really crazy has happened to make the market want to go up or go down at this point. There's no big news on inflation or anything like that. So we've just been kind of walking sideways. Everybody's just kind of looking and waiting and wanting to know what's going to happen, but nobody does. So we see the market just kind of trapped in this indecision, this indecisive area. And everybody's kind of looking at this area right now. Even if they don't agree with this concept, this is how the market is trading, is fair value. This is all going to be fair value. And we're talking about this entire range here. Okay. So all of this is looking up, or the market's treating all this as a fair value area. And we're just going to expect it to continue to be choppy in this area. Okay. Now I'm going to add one more point of interest to this. But this is what I'm talking about with it just wanting to chop around. It's very, very volatile in this area. Now we have one more area that we can look at, one more zone, one more price point or whatever. And we're going to use the Fibonacci retracement tool to do that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and just set, it doesn't matter which way you go with this, but I want to know the high and the low of this range. And right now that's actually the high. And this here is actually the low. So let's get that dead on. And I want to focus on this area here. Now with the Fibonacci numbers, most people pay attention to the 50, which actually isn't a Fibonacci number at all. But they look at this golden zone between the 38.2 and the 61.8. We're going to be looking at this kind of like a pivot point. We're going to expect prices to bounce around and hold this, or bounce around and hold that. Okay. So that's what we're going to be expecting the market to do. And if I were to take this thing here and just kind of drop it down on this range like that, you can see that that kind of holds true. We chopped around inside of this 38 to 61.8 golden zone here, and then we actually held that as a resistance. Chopped around inside of it, moved around, broke down, couldn't hold it. Same thing over here, broke down, and then we started holding it as a support. It failed, held below it as a resistance. It failed, and now we came back up and we're holding up above it again. This is going to be kind of a midway point. That 50, well, it is a midway point. It's not kind of like one. It actually is halfway, 50%. But we're going to be looking at that as a key pivot point and also a target. If we go short up here, we're going to be targeting that 50%. Or if we go long down here, we'll be targeting that 50% as kind of a midway point between where we are and where we're hoping to get with either one of those positions. So hopefully this video helps you out a little bit, helps you understand what the market's currently doing and how we can appropriately react to it. Remember that I'm not a financial advisor. Please talk any trading decisions that you make over with a licensed financial advisor that you know and trust in your area or whatever prior to placing any trades. Do not take any of this as financial or trading advice because it's not, okay? And with that said, I wish you the very best. I hope that you succeed in anything that you do. With trading, with your jobs, with your families, with whatever. I just wish you the absolute best success. With that said, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this video. Look forward to the next one. We'll see what how this week shakes out. And if anything actually interesting happens during the week, then I will be jumping on YouTube and updating, like, hey, we broke out or something like that. Then I will update accordingly. So please hit that notified bell so that you know whenever those videos come out, you don't miss it. You'll know what's going on in the markets and have some potential ideas that you might be interested in using. With that said, thank you for watching. Y'all take care. And as always, God bless.